Hi, this is part 9 of the Dancing Star animation series. We are going to do just a ton of animating on this star now, and you might be surprised to see how easy it is to make something look pretty fun. The first thing that we need to do is actually a little bit of cleanup on the eyes and mouth folder, and that's really because I kind of led you astray. I misspoke on a couple of my directions, so we're going to take care of a couple of small problems right now. Be sure that you go on frame 0, and you may need to zoom in on your star just for now to see this, or you can just watch my zoom in and follow along. Click on the eye switch folder. Click here on the zoom out tool until you can see at least all the way to frame 180. We need to delete all of these keyframes here. Click drag, go all the way here to 0. When you see that all of the little keyframes are highlighted in red, push the delete key on your keyboard. Now go over here to the tools and click on the set origin icon. Now point here at about where the middle of his eyes would be. I know you can't see them right now, but you know basically where they were at to set the origin point for the eyes. Next, click on the mouth switch folder. Again, you can see all these keyframes. Click drag all the way across to 0. Once you see they are all highlighted in red, push the delete key on your keyboard. And again, with the set origin icon selected down here at approximately where you know the middle of the mouth was situated. I'm going to zoom back out now. I'll click on my zoom tool and click reset view. I'm also going to turn back on my sky layer, which I had shut off in the previous tutorial. I also am not going to worry about explaining all of that right now to you, since this is all so new. It would only add confusion. We'll just move forward and it'll all be good. So click on the main star bone folder. In the timeline, look at where you have this last set of keyframes, which was on frame 174 if you were following along with me exactly. This is where the star dropped down to the moon, and at this point we actually want to open up his eyes and mouth. So before we start moving his arms and his legs and all that, we're going to have him just kind of stay still while he opens up his eyes and mouth so that the audience can appreciate what's going on without too much activity. Over here, above the timeline ruler, there's a checkbox for auto freeze keys. You want to uncheck this box. Do not have a check mark here. Click over to frame 192. Go up here to the main menu to Animation. Choose Add Keyframe. This time, click No. Now he's going to stay still between 174 to 192, and we're going to open up his eyes and mouth. I'm going to zoom on my timeline just a little bit here by clicking the zoom in tool once, and then I'll need to horizontally scroll, and you really do need to be where these last sets of keyframes are more over to the left, because we need to continue working on down the timeline. Now back over here at approximately, I'll stop at 179. This doesn't need to be precise. Go over here and click on the Eyes switch folder. Now you need to do a right mouse button click to open up the little menu for that, and choose Closed Eyes. Now mine are barely showing because I'm zoomed out from the star, but they are there, and you'll see in a minute. Now I'll move a little further down the timeline here to 185. Back over here, pointing over top of the Eyes switch folder, right mouse button click, half open eyes. Now you can really see them. And then to 192, right mouse button click over top of eyes and choose open eyes. Now click on the mouth switch folder, and we need to go back to approximately 180. It could be 179. Right mouse click over top of mouth, choose closed mouth, move down to 185, right click over mouth, choose half open mouth, and then to 192 over here, and back to mouth, right click, choose open mouth. Now the keyframes look quite a bit different for switch folders, and I'll explain that at another time, not today. Click back up here on the main star bone folder, and let's go back to frame 0 and hit enter, and play this through all the way until the star opens up the eyes and mouth. That looked pretty good. Now we need to go back to frame 192, so click here, be sure that it shows frame 192. We'll start animating the arms and the legs now. Go up here to bone and choose freeze pose. Now we'll be animating his arms and his legs, and we'll be moving along at intervals greater than every 6 frames, and so you won't be able to follow along with these numbers over here in this ruler. So you can follow along with me, but don't worry if you don't hit the exact same frames that I do. I'm going to click over here now in the timeline, and I ended up on 201. In the tools, choose manipulate bone, and over here click and move this arm, and down here and move this leg. And it doesn't matter about precision here either. And then I'll move down to 210, and I'll put this arm kind of back down and this leg back in place, and move this leg and this arm. Then I'll move over to 219, moving arms and legs again. And I'm not being exact with this either. Now I'll go to 228. And then I'll move to 237. 246. And I want to get about a dozen of these. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I ended up on 255. And you can see that I'm not too concerned about anything being exact. And 275. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Guess we could just try and stop at 10. We'll go to, let's see here. I'm going to type in 290 here and hit enter. And then I'll go up here to bone in the main menu. Click on reset all bones. And again, bone, freeze pose. This won't look great yet, but let's test it. I'll drag back here before all of that started and push play. And of course, anytime you need to pause the video, go ahead. I'm going to keep moving along. I'll go back now to the first place where I started moving the arms and legs around, and now I'm going to rock him back and forth just like we did up here. In the tools, click on the transform layer, and then here's the bounding box as you've seen before, and I will click to rock one direction, find my next set of keyframes, and rock the other direction, and I'll do that back and forth. I paused the video while I went on through and did some more. You didn't need to sit there and watch me do that. But at the very end here where we did the freeze pose and all of that, I'm going to straighten him back up. And I'll test again by sliding back here on the ruler and pushing play. Now I'll add side-to-side motion. First off, we've got these areas here where it's just before I started doing all of the movements and the end of it. I'm going to go approximately in the middle of that, between the two. And then with transform layer selected, I'll pull the star over to here. Then I'll go back to the end of where all the keyframes are and slide the star back over to here. Again, going back here on the timeline, I'll push play and test. So that's not all. We're going to add even more movement to that. Let me stop here for a moment and I'll shut off my sky again so that you can see this path. So here's this path of him going back and forth. We're going to add movement in this path. So sliding back along the timeline, I'll just go a ways and I'm not going to match up with any of these other little dots. I'm just going to stop at a couple of places, like he's around here right now, and with the transform layer selected, I'll push him up and you see how it moved that path? And then I'll pull along some more and this time push down a little bit, pull him along a little more, pull up, and then I'm just backtracking some more. Let's see, maybe I'll push up again and pull down. So you see what I'm doing, moving along, pulling up or pushing down. Now you see how different this motion path looks. Right now it looks kind of like a wave. And I can test this. I'll click right here. I'll go back to the timeline here and push play. Let's see, here we go. So now it looks like he's almost bouncing and dancing. Okay, I'll pause now and we should be able to finish up this project in the next video.